that was read in today, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, that one is read in. And now we have the paper that was just read in by Mr. Bond. Let's vote to bring it in, and then we'll hear from Matthew Cardinale. So do we have a motion?
moved.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, it has been brought forward.
Thank you,
Mr.
Committee.
Yes, Mr. Cardinale, if you could, please address us with your paper.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. This is Matthew Charles Cardinale, news editor of Atlanta Progressive News and second-year law student at Gonzaga University School of Law. You all should have, I think they were on your chairs when you came in, a booklet of a report that I've been working on. I had the opportunity to work on a directed research paper through Gonzaga, where I actually received course credit to do policy research related to affordable housing, and I have put together a proposal for affordable housing impact statements in the city of Atlanta. As many of you know, it's been a while since I've appeared before this committee. We've had a lot of discourse going back almost 10 years related to affordable housing under the chairmanship of Ms. Shepard, and then Mr. Maddox even before that. We've had a lot of conversations around the Beltline and around Atlanta Housing Authority policies, and so this is really a proposal to take a positive step forward and start to really document the impact of various legislation that comes out of this committee that in fact impacts the housing stock of the city of Atlanta. So actually this started out, this was something that Ben Howard had mentioned several times as an idea. Affordable housing impact statement, and just like there's an environmental impact statement policy for new nuclear power plants and things like that document the environmental impact, the idea here was to document the affordable housing impact. And as I started doing research, I found out that, in fact, this is something that other jurisdictions have already been doing for some time, particularly, and you'll see the tabs here for San Diego, California, and Austin, Texas, and I've included the sample impact statements from those jurisdictions as well as the enacting legislation or other administrative memos that set these policies forth. And then also the Georgia Stand-Up organization included affordable housing impact statements as part of their 2009 Stand Up and Vote platform. And Deborah Scott can't be here today, but I received a text message from her today saying that I should let you know that Georgia Stand-Up is in support of this idea. And so what you'll see in here, the first thing is obviously the proposed legislation. I have been working with Chairman Dickens and his staff, and we've had a lot of great conversations with the Office of Housing, with Terry Lee, Derek Jordan, about how this actually could work in the city of Atlanta. Basically, the idea is that any time that there would be legislation that would come before the committee that would impact the housing stock of the city of Atlanta, prominent examples would be land use changes, as well as acceptance of federal grant dollars, that the Office of Housing would be tasked with producing an impact statement. So we have here definitions. Housing impact statement means a statement attached to proposed housing stock impact legislation that estimates and describes the impact the legislation would have if enacted on the affordable housing stock of the city of Atlanta. And then I have a housing stock impact legislation definition. I went back through several months of committee agendas and tried to identify examples of types of legislation that would impact. And so some things that are hot right now, include policies about how are we going to take abandoned, blighted homes and bring them back to where they're going to be livable and have positive impacts on the community. And of course, if that does happen and they happen in neighborhoods that are comparatively affordable, then that's definitely going to have a positive impact, and an impact statement would specify that. On page 5, you'll see the structure that I'm proposing for such a statement, which says this legislation, if enacted, is estimated to have a projected impact upon the affordable housing stock of the City of Atlanta by adding blank or decreasing blank units affordable at. And so then there's 4 brackets, 30% or below AMI, 30 to 50, 50 to 80, and 80 and above, and that the city's office of the municipal clerk shall maintain a repository for all of these statements. As I said, I'm pretty familiar with concerns of several of the committee members who've been on this committee for a long time, Ms. Shepard, Mr. Young, Ms. Winslow's not here today, but we've had a lot of discourse, and Mr. Hall as well. I know that one of the primary concerns has been promoting mixed income developments, mixed income communities, wanting to make sure that low-income people are not segregated to just one community, and there's a lot of rationale behind that. And so what having these statements can do is make sure that within individual projects that there is going to be a good mix, and that as we track legislation over time, that we're making sure that everyone is getting served, and that we are having the mix that we want to see. This is certainly not a City of Atlanta unique problem. This is a national problem, due to market forces, many people coming onto the rental market, the decline in CDBG funding, the decline in home funding, we just elected a bunch of Republicans to Congress, so we'll probably see some more cuts, possibly for federal funding. So there's a lot of pressure to create, sustain, rehabilitate affordable housing, and our department, the Office of Housing, and other stakeholders, the ADA, and of course the council, are engaging in a lot of creative ideas to how to address this problem, including land bank authority, inclusionary zoning, dealing with abandoned properties, and a lot of things that have the potential to be really positive. And having an impact statement process in place, like other jurisdictions have already done, really empowers the council with meaningful information at the point that decisions are being made, and then also gives us a tool to really track the impact of what we're doing, make sure that we're meeting our goals. You recently had the study from HRNA, where they said that there are 25,000 cost-burdened renter households subsisting on $20,000 or less a year, and another 13,000 making between $20,000 and $34,999. That's 38,000 housing cost-burdened households. So we have a lot of work to do, and this legislation will really help us track our progress and keep track of the positive things that we're doing. I spoke with Gina, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Kopich, who is over the department in Austin, Texas. While this legislation in and of itself does not create nor destroy affordable housing units, Austin, Texas has found that having this process in place kind of nudges and incentivizes stakeholders and developers to really come up with better proposals so that they include more affordable housing components, that they look better, because they know that the council, the policy-making body will be seeing it, and the public will be seeing it, and so that's been something that's been really positive. If you look on page 6 of my report, I went to the Code of Ordinances to find a place to house this housing policy, And I found that in 2001, the City of Atlanta adopted a number of affordable housing goals that are codified in Section 54-1, subsection B of the Code of Ordinances. So we already have some goals that some of these came out of the gentrification task force that State Representative Thomas, when she was on the council, was very much involved in. And one of the things that we said is that all public subsidies for affordable housing should be targeted so that 2/3 of the subsidies reach extremely low-income families. That the city should utilize a certain definition of affordability, which is 50% AMI or below, that all tax increment financings and TADs that contain a residential component should include 33% of affordable housing units. So we actually already have some goals in place. And in my conversations with the chairman, we've talked about setting more goals. We talked about having a goal about producing more units over time certain, and the need to do an inventory of our housing stock. So there's more work to be done. I know that during the recent work session, the Office of Housing was talking about some of the recommendations that came out of the HRA report. They're looking at inclusionary zoning. So I really feel that having this process in place before, as we go into 2015, will complement and highlight all of these additional efforts that, will be coming on in the future by, specifically presenting in a defined and systematic way what the housing impacts are. We had a meeting with the administration this morning, and I was just delighted that the Office of Housing is excited about this. This is really something that's going to look really great to HUD as we continue to do annual reporting to HUD and show that we're really serious about tracking our progress. And they said that they want a little bit more time to make sure that it's meaningful, make sure that there's a process in place, make sure that there's appropriate resources for the staff. And so I know that we're going to continue to have a lot of great conversations, and hopefully, some point early next year, have something that that would be ready for your consideration as a committee.
Thank you, Matthew.
And I wanted to just acknowledge a few people who have helped with this report. So I did want to acknowledge Councilman Dickens and his staff. I wanted to acknowledge Terry Lee and Derek Jordan, my professor at Gonzaga, Gail Hammer, Dr. DeWanda Lee Farmer, who provided her written comments by email, Mabel Thomas, Natalie Archibong, Councilman Bond, Deborah Scott, as well as Anita Beatty. So, and let me also just pass along my business cards. And I've got my phone number and school email at Gonzaga for you, so I'll just pass these.
Thank you very much.
Great to see everybody.
Thank you for this presentation and this paper. Mr. Bond, you had a comment?
Well, I just wanted to say it's great to see Mr. Cardinale, and you clean up, law school has cleaned you up very well.
Oh, thank you.
It's good to see you, and I know that you came at great expense across the continent to be here, and so we appreciate the work that you have done thus